Throughout history, the clash of armies has echoed through the ages. These battles, often brutal and destructive, have shaped civilizations. They have redrawn maps and determined the fates of nations. From the plains of ancient Greece to the battlefields of the modern era, the stories of these conflicts continue to fascinate us. They offer glimpses into the past, showcasing the strategic brilliance, raw courage, and tragic consequences of war. These epic confrontations are more than just historical footnotes. They are tales of human drama played out on a grand scale. They are stories of bravery and sacrifice, of cunning strategies and technological innovations. By studying these battles, we gain a deeper understanding of our past, the nature of conflict, and the enduring human spirit. The study of war, for all its horrors, is ultimately the study of ourselves. It reveals our capacity for both great good and terrible destruction. It reminds us of the importance of diplomacy, the fragility of peace, and the enduring need for understanding and cooperation between different peoples. Few battles resonate through history like the Battle of Thermopylae. In 480 BC, a small force of Greeks, led by the Spartan king Leonidas, faced the might of the Persian Empire. Xerxes, the Persian king, commanded an army so vast that it was said to have drunk rivers dry. The Greeks, vastly outnumbered, chose to make their stand at a narrow pass known as Thermopylae, the Hot Gates. This natural choke point negated the Persian numerical advantage. For 2 days the Spartans held their ground, repelling wave after wave of Persian attacks. Their courage and discipline became legendary. However, the Persians discovered a mountain path that outflanked the Greek position. Betrayed, Leonidas and his remaining 300 Spartans fought to the death. Their sacrifice, though a military defeat, became a symbol of Greek resistance and the courage to fight for freedom. Another epic clash from antiquity is the Trojan War, immortalized in Homer's Iliad. This conflict, believed to have taken place in the 13th century BC, pitted the Greeks against the Trojans. At the heart of this epic struggle was the beautiful Helen, Queen of Sparta, whose abduction by the Trojan prince Paris ignited the war. The siege of Troy lasted for 10 long years. The Greeks, led by Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, and featuring heroes like Achilles and Odysseus, battled the Trojans and their allies. The war was ultimately decided by a cunning stratagem, the Trojan horse. The Greeks, feigning retreat, left behind a massive wooden horse as an offering to the goddess Athena. Unbeknownst to the Trojans, the horse was hollow and filled with Greek soldiers. Under the cover of darkness, the Greeks emerged from the horse, opened the city gates, and sacked Troy. The Trojan War stands as a testament to the power of strategy, the allure of beauty, and the enduring themes of love, loss, and vengeance. The medieval period witnessed its fair share of epic battles. One such conflict was the Battle of Hastings in 1066 AD. A pivotal moment in English history. William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, invaded England, claiming the throne. He challenged the English king, Harold Godwinson. The two armies met near Hastings in Sussex. The battle raged throughout the day. The Anglo-Saxon forces, armed with axes and shields, fought bravely. The Normans, with their cavalry and archers, proved a formidable force. The tide turned when Harold was killed, supposedly by an arrow through the eye. William's victory at Hastings had profound consequences. It marked the end of Anglo-Saxon rule in England and the beginning of the Norman era. William's descendants would rule England for centuries. English language, culture, and society were irrevocably changed by the Norman conquest. Another defining conflict of the medieval period were the Crusades, a series of religious wars fought between Christians and Muslims. These campaigns, spanning over 2 centuries, were fought for control of the Holy Land, particularly Jerusalem. The First Crusade, launched in 1095, was a remarkable success for the Christians. Driven by religious zeal and the promise of salvation, they captured Jerusalem in 1099. The Crusaders established a number of Crusader states in the Levant. However, the Crusades were ultimately a failure. The Muslim world, initially caught off guard, rallied under leaders like Saladin. They gradually retook the lost territories. The Crusades left a complex legacy of religious intolerance, cultural exchange, and military innovation. The dawn of modern warfare, revolution and empire. The 18th and 19th centuries witnessed the rise of modern warfare. New technologies, such as gunpowder and artillery, transformed battlefields. Armies became larger, more professional, and more reliant on complex logistics. One of the most significant conflicts of this era were the Napoleonic Wars. From 1803 to 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte's armies swept across Europe. Napoleon, a brilliant military strategist, revolutionized warfare. He introduced new tactics such as the corps system, which organized his armies into self-sufficient units. This allowed for greater flexibility and speed on the battlefield. Napoleon's victories, such as Austerlitz and Jena, stunned Europe. He seemed invincible. However, his ambition ultimately proved his undoing. His disastrous invasion of Russia in the 1812, coupled with the combined might of his European enemies, led to his downfall. Across the Atlantic, a different kind of revolution was taking place. The American Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1783 pitted the 13 American colonies against Great Britain. The colonists, seeking independence from British rule, faced a formidable enemy. The British Army was one of the most powerful in the world. The Americans, though initially outmatched, were determined to fight for their freedom. They were led by skilled generals such as George Washington. The Continental Army, bolstered by militia forces and French support, fought a series of engagements that tested British resolve. The American victory at Saratoga in 1777 proved to be a turning point. It convinced France to formally ally with the Americans. With French assistance, the Americans were able to secure their independence. The American Revolution gave birth to a new nation founded on the principles of liberty and self-government. Global conflicts, the World Wars. The 20th century witnessed the deadliest conflicts in human history, the two World Wars. These conflicts were marked by unprecedented violence, technological innovation, and human suffering. World War I began after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. A web of alliances drew the great powers of Europe into a war that no one wanted or could control. Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire faced off against France, Britain, Russia, and the United States. World War I was unlike any conflict before. New technologies transformed the battlefield into a mechanized killing ground. Trench warfare became synonymous with the war's brutality. Battles like Verdun and the Somme cost millions of lives. The war ended with the defeat of the Central Powers, leaving a generation scarred. World War II erupted just 2 decades later. The rise of Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler, plunged the world back into war. Nazi Germany, along with its allies, Italy and Japan, unleashed a war of aggression. World War II was a truly global conflict. It witnessed the horrors of the Holocaust. The war also saw the use of atomic bombs, ushering in the nuclear age. World War II ended with the defeat of the Axis powers. The war had a profound impact on the 20th century. It led to the formation of the United Nations and a new world order. The legacy of battle courage, sacrifice, and remembrance. The battles and wars discussed in this essay represent just a fraction of the countless conflicts that have shaped human history. From the ancient Greeks to the soldiers of the world wars, these conflicts have tested the limits of human endurance, courage, and ingenuity. It is important to remember that behind the grand strategies and sweeping narratives of war are the stories of individuals. Each battle represents the collective sacrifice of countless men and women who fought and died for their beliefs, their countries, and their comrades. As we study these epic battles and war stories, let us not forget the human cost of conflict. Let us honor the courage and sacrifice of those who served. Let us strive to build a more peaceful world, where dialogue and diplomacy replace the horrors of war.